Hello everybody, welcome back to INSANEBRIT Gaming. I'm INSANEBRIT and this is a vlog. I don't normally do vlogs on specific topics or even name it a vlog. It's often a news story and I put it in the gaming or news section or whatever. I haven't done one in a while, I acknowledge that. My apologies for the lighting on this goddamn monitor because of my eyes. So if I basically lift up my glasses, you get reflecting and it's too bright. I can't really seem to get the issue going with it, but I wanted to get this out today, so please forgive me on that note. But today's topic is Chelsea sack Lampard and club issues. I'm going to be going into a couple of things that I feel are an issue or ongoing, and we're going to break it down as much as I can. I have tried to structure this the best I can for you guys because I have a lot to say. So I've kind of bullet pointed it in a little bit, so I might go on a little rant here and there, but I really want you to listen to each point because, like I said, we're going to be going through quite a few things from the hiring of Frank Lampard to the transfers and various things that's going on as well, the best of my ability, because remember, this is going to be part bullet point but part rant as well, but I will try my very best, and we're going to be talking about coaches as well. So yeah, please bear that in mind. So I'm going to switch to the first or the top of the first subject is the hiring of Frank Lampard. Now, first and foremost, I am a huge fan of Frank Lampard as a player. And I definitely support him as a coach. Did kind of okay at Derby or what have you, whatever you want to rate that success, whatever. But at the same time, he is unproven. He has not been in a Champions League final. He's not won a league in a foreign country or what have you. He just hasn't. He is unproven. Let's be honest. It's not saying that he won't be a great coach or whatever, or can't be a great coach. No, but more or less, you've hired someone on the fly who is a legend of the club, and you're giving an opportunity, and that's fine. That's completely and utterly fine. It's worked out with some managers. It hasn't worked out with others. I think Kenny Dalglish was at Liverpool for a while, and then years later he took back over as interim coach. He didn't kind of work out, so he left, obviously. And then we had Alan Shearer take over at Newcastle for a time near the end of the season at one point. They all thought he was going to save the day. Don't think it worked out, walked away, but again, it was just on a short-term basis. But Lampard was going to be, we was going to change essentially the culture of Chelsea's hiring and firing policy. This was a change in the, I feel, in the culture of Chelsea. Okay, and that was going to be really important going forward. Basically, we had the transfer ban, and essentially nobody wanted the job. Because if you are a coach with your Carlo Ancelotti, Conte, Jose Mourinho, you're going to be stuck with a group of players that's unproven, youthful players, and that's not going to be good for you. Because if you do that with Chelsea's hiring and firing policy, you're going to waste a year of your life, essentially, is what you're going to do. You're going to go there, you're going to spend 12 months with a group of players you can't improve on, other than what you've got, and then you're going to waste an actual year, and then on your CV as a coach, you'll get fired for not winning the Champions League, or whatever they count as success. You don't really want to risk that. It's kind of a waste of your time. It's not something you wanted to do. So it kind of made sense that Lampard came in. He loved the club. He had passion about the club. And as Chelsea fans, we wanted two particular things to happen at Chelsea. We wanted a long-term building strategy in respects to the hiring and firing. We wanted the coach to stick around. I'm not going to say maybe, I don't think it's going to be far-fetched and go Alex Ferguson or Wenger. You're not going to have that, not in these days. But we wanted something to be somewhat stable. A club legend coming at the club was just a great fit at the point in time, and that's what we went with. But as Chelsea fans, we knew we weren't going to do amazing in the first year. We were going to play kids, and that's the second thing that comes into play as well. Have a manager long term with sustainability and stop the hiring and firing. And obviously, it being Lampard is just fantastic, and we would give him a chance, and he would, whatever, do what he did. We had realistic expectations. I said that I wanted a cup run and top four, and we did that essentially. I was happy with that, content. And also, the other shift of what Chelsea fans wanted in long-term stability in respects to hiring transfers and stuff like that. We wanted the youth to come through. Chelsea's seen a number of players come and go all through the youth system, in Ake now at Man City, Salah at Liverpool, De Bruyne, etc. The list goes on. We've lost a lot of world-class players to a lot of other clubs. We are effectively the Real Madrid of English football at this point in time. The amount of players that have gone on to do decently, or good players in the smaller clubs, have all come from Real Madrid's squad. Don't say they're well beaters, but there's been a few of them anyway I feel pretty decent. So, and obviously for long-term stability, you don't want to have to keep spending hundreds of millions of pounds on players' transfers. You want them to come through the youth system. Look at Southampton and whatever, Barcelona being another perfect example of this. They buy here and there, but essentially their youth is really good. And that's what we wanted, and we was looking forward to that. Of course, Lampard was forced to do that because of a transfer ban. Okay, so we had to be realistic about our goals for that year. So cut down to a year and gone by, and now he gets his second year. We spend a lot of money, 140 million plus. I think it was 200 million, I think, overall. And Chelsea are like, well, we spent money, we expect you to win the league now, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, it's like, well, hold on a minute, stop crying about the money for a second, because 140 million of that didn't come out of your pocket. It came out of Hazard. It literally Hazard. You was given 140 million for Hazard, okay? And then whatever else you spent, you earned, like, was from the club overall revenue. So, you know, I'm not saying that, like, you know, I mean, come on, it hasn't been all directly out of Mr. Roman's pockets directly like that. You know, it's been manoeuvring, some sponsorship and all that kind of stuff. So it's all money, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, and it's Chelsea's money, but at the same time, it wasn't like it was out of a strictly cash funded straight from his pocket kind of thing, you know what I mean? So anyway, he spent the money, and for the most part I felt that he spent it wisely. Havertz, really top talented player, really liked him. I know FIFA's just a video game, but I really liked him on FIFA. And then Werner, obviously, I saw him in the Bundesliga scoring goals left, right and centre. Solid buys. Ziyech as well, didn't really know too much about him. I was with Ajax in the Champions League final. I believe they lost that. I think. I can't remember who it was against. My memory's quite bad when it comes to that. Pulisic was already there as well. Now, moving on, they play okay at the beginning, and then things start to go awry. We got Werner not really scoring on fire anymore. Mendy as well. We'll get to Mendy as well in a little bit. My God. And we've had some issues. Now, I don't care if you are Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be the most hated team you despise in the world. If you bring in players from other leagues, and I'll say it now, weaker leagues, they're going to have to adapt to the Premier League. They need at least 1 full year to adapt to the Premier League. I don't think it's... Okay, maybe that's just my opinion, but I think for the most part, we all need a good full year. Didier Drogba came to the Premier League, falling over, got criticised for it, blah, blah, told to stop doing it. He got stronger, stayed on his feet, and I think he's all-time record goal scorer for Chelsea now, so many years down the line. So you can see where he needed that time to adjust, and it's the same for a lot of other players as well. So they all need a full year to adjust. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean it's everybody. You can buy a player and he comes into this league and he takes to it like a duck to water, like just naturally, and that's fantastic, brilliant. But at the same time, for the most part, especially when you're trying to embed a lot of players, not 1 or 2, but 3, 4, 5 or whatever, all got to adapt. Language barrier, it's all there. It's just all... I know you can argue that's an excuse, and I kind of understand, but at the same time, it is a reality. It takes time. Everything takes time. A club to mature, you know, the transfers, the players to come good, the youth, you know, it has to develop as a team, all the rest of it. It's all got to come together, work hard, and you get a finished product kind of thing, you know, and it takes time. And of course, Chelsea don't like waiting that kind of time. We wanted Chelsea to give Lampard the time to build the club up and give him that extended time. And never mind the first year, because he had base players to do it with the youth. He mixed in a good chunk of the youth along with the players that he brought in, and for the most part. Okay, so let me slow down for a little bit, because I went on a tangent and I'll go into other different things. So first and foremost, I said they needed a year. We had Ziyech out, Pulisic was out, Werner got injured a little bit. I don't know. Every week we had wingers that were injured each week, so we couldn't really play a consistent team. You can argue at that point, but at the same time, I don't think Lampard really played a consistent team anyway. He started to chop and change. Lampard wasn't perfect as a coach, but we'll get into that in a little bit as well. So yeah, we spent some money, we bought some players, some worked, some didn't, some faded out. We had some injuries that caused issues throughout the season. I don't know why Ross Barkley was allowed to go on loan. I think that's a fucking criminal, absolute criminal. Half the time we got Kante in that midfield by himself. It's too light. We ain't got it now. The engine room is the midfield. They feed the ball to the strikers, the wingers, whatever, and it wasn't working. It was too light. Poor Kante running up and down. You know, he can't do it all by himself. Last season, Lampard was playing the 4-3-3 and the number 10 role with three supporting the lone striker, and it worked. And we were switching and changing the formation, probably because he had a more settled team and knew he was playing and gave him jobs, and they were working hard for him that way. This year, he hasn't really done that enough for me personally, and that might be one of the issues as well. Ruben Loftus-Cheek deserved to go on loan. He needed games and he's playing really well for Palace, but Barkley was consistent for me. He could break forward from the midfield. Kante could just do the defending part. Barkley could break forward. He can run, he can shoot, he can tackle. He's good in the air. He can do it all, Barkley. So allowing him to go on loan I think was a massive mistake because that's where we are most liked. At least I feel. We have numbers, but like I said, I don't think he trusted, what's his name, a young kid, Gilmore, enough this season when he should have really. Some versatile midfielder, great to watch, good on the ball, got it all, very talented. Now going to the again, the injuries piled up because the intensity and the physicality and the pace of the league in itself. So we all needed a year. Anyway, goalkeepers. Now this is specifically what really irks me a little bit. We had Courtois, okay? He was doing really well, but he did rubbish. Left for Real Madrid. Maybe he had his own issues, was voted by Real Madrid fans as the worst signing in Real Madrid history. That's incredible. What an insult to say you're the worst signing. You signed for Madrid and they vote you the worst signing in history. That is insane. Now they love him and he's doing really well. From what a couple of months ago, I don't know how he's doing now, but they're like, yeah, he's brilliant now and he's doing really well. Fantastic. I'm like, wow, what a turnaround. So I don't know what changed for him there, but okay, good luck to him. Okay, he's gone now. Okay. We bring in Kepa at this point for £80 million. Now, if you are any player, Ronaldo, Messi, whoever you are, you come in a club for £80 million, whatever position you are in, I would assume you start 9 out of 10 games. 8 out of 10 at least, if you need a rest or you're injured. It makes perfect sense to me. For whatever reason, he started to muck up. He did well at first, then started to muck up. And then he was like, oh, we don't really trust him anymore. It's Kepa again. He's failing. Like, he should have saved it. What's going on? Fast forward to this year, we bring in Mendy. £22 million. Peter Cech, technical director. Okay? So he's, like, partially in charge of watching the players, saying he's got technical specifications. I rate him. I think he's going to be really good. I would recommend buying him. £22 million. Not, well, cheaper than most what we normally bought, especially considering we paid 80 for Kepa. But it might be a bargain, It might be one of those things, Don't know who's really a good goalkeeper right now you can pick up for on the cheap, but there are certainly goalkeepers out there. You have to spend a lot of money to get a good goalkeeper, especially an established goalkeeper. And now I understand why Chelsea were definitely very reluctant to go out and buy another goalkeeper for £80 million because they just bought one, so they feel kind of annoyed at that. You either crack on with it and get good, or they didn't want to admit in the face that they'd either mucked up or they're saying deeply wrong. So they bought Mendy for £22 million, did well in the beginning, started to muck up. You're seeing there's a pattern here, right? 3 goalkeepers, very expensive, one not so much, but there's issues with them. Why? I don't know. Are they all crap? Like, no, I don't believe that for a second. I know, and I don't really comment on players' personal issues, but I think Kepa broke up with his long-term girlfriend. That might be an issue. But how do you explain Mendy? I don't know. I have no clue. Maybe he speaks. I mean, he's got Kante there, speaks French. I don't know. I'm starting to think it's the goalkeeping coaches. I'm starting to think there's something wrong there. Either that, or there's a mindset in the team where the team ain't playing that well anyway, but the goalkeepers are particularly mucking up, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I would look at the goalkeeping situation and possibly sack the goalkeeping coaches. I think Hilario is on the goalkeeping coaches. I think he's a goalkeeping coach for Chelsea. Hilario, he was third choice for fuck's sake for Chelsea. Like, why is he doing that? And this is what mind boggles me, is that Peter Cech is a technical director. Why is he technical director? Shouldn't he be, I don't know, coaching the goalkeepers? Or is that just me? Maybe I'm crazy. That's like me having Didier Drogba on my coaching staff, and then everybody saying, "Oh man, Werner's going to do fantastic. He's got Drogba there now. He'll help him. He'll help him develop." And I look at you and go, "What are you talking about? I've got Drogba teaching the goalkeepers." What? It doesn't make fucking sense. You'd think I'm stupid. I would be stupid to do that. It's insane. So I don't understand the logic in that. As far as I'm concerned, I will tell Czech, get a goalkeeping badge, coach or whatever, coach badge, whatever it is, and teach goalkeeping and make him look like you out there. I don't care. You know, why wouldn't you do that? I have no fucking clue. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's very bizarre to me. So either sack the bloody goalkeeping coaches, or there is something deeper within the team spirit and everything else, and I think that might be it as well. I don't know, a bit of both. I'm not too sure. There's something really going on here. We haven't cursed goalkeeping issues at this point in time. So like I said, now moving on. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to say here about Frank Lampard. Now, he isn't a perfect coach. Like I said, sorry, before I get into that, as for goalkeepers, I would like to see Oblique or Donnarumma. Oblique from Atletico Madrid or Donnarumma from AC Milan come in and be our #1 goalkeeper. If you have to swap Kepa, pay them 20 million. Don't care. Just get him in there. They're already world-class established keepers, but at the same time, if you're going to have this kind of coaching or something going on with the club itself, it's seeping into all these players. Otherwise, they were naturally good or really good. So I'm not too sure. So again, that's just me. I'd rather pay £80 million for an established goalkeeper, but the board of directors ain't going to allow that, and then they're going to be like, no, work with what you got and sort it out, which I understand. But yeah, that is what it is. But definitely there's going to be a clear out at some point anyway, with the new coach coming in and what have you, and we'll get into that in a little bit as well. So yeah, Frank Lampard as a coach. So there's been criticism from the players, suspected a couple of players, which we'll get into, might have gone to the board of directors and complained about the coaching or the lack of tactics being involved. Now, he is a coach in learning, Frank is, and, you know, all the rest of it. So it could be team mentality, the tactics, or lack of. Last season, we played a lone striker with a number 10 role. We switched between 4-3-3 and the other one with the three midfielders and the lone striker, with two defensive midfielders with Kante, Barkley, Kante, Kovacevic, and that really, the formation we played at Luton, which was really good, and I thought, well, it's gone back to that, that's fine, do that, continue to do that. I feel we need Declan Rice, but I don't think Chelsea are willing to pay the money for him, 50 million, 60 million, but ironically, I mean, we don't really have to in theory if we had Barkley there, we would have, you know, but without Kante, if he gets injured, which he has been injured, suspended, we miss him deeply or a lot. So it's like, come on, we need a player like Rice to get in. But obviously, I don't think they're obviously not going to back Lampard in the transfer market, which they didn't, because they wanted a new coach. And we've seen the axe wielded yesterday or whatever. So, but even with a new coach coming in, he may want that player as well. So you're going to have to fork out more money to build on it, or they might just say, look, you've got what you got, work with it, and you'll have to make do, and then clear out in summer, which will obviously happen, and I think that's right. Clear out some players who are dead weight and reevaluate. I think we've got a lot of midfielders. We need to do that, and just, you know, even if Gilmore goes on loan, I hate to say that because I think he's great. I love him as a player. I want to see him play more, but that may have to happen. Who knows? The coach may not even like him and get rid of him, which would be a shame. Who knows? Jorginho might leave. You just don't know. But we've got a lot of midfielders in that role, so that'd be interesting going forward. But yeah, sorry, getting back to it, I don't think Frank Lampard last season had a consistent team, more or less, because he was forced to. This year, with the injuries and stuff, he didn't have a consistent team. Like I said, Barkley being let go on loan was travesty. We had no Loftus-Cheek as well. He weren't playing great away, but now he needs to play games. Now he's playing regularly. He's playing well for Crystal Palace, I believe. When we was down 1 or 2 goals or whatever it was in one of the previous games, he looked like a zombie. There was no passion in it. His team looked uninspired, like they weren't fighting. There was no leader on the pitch as well. I think that might be an issue with a lot of foreign players. They're looking to the already established players, and there just was no fight in them for whatever reason, and frustration. I also feel that maybe Lampard, again, this is just, doesn't mean it's true, but Lampard criticised his players a lot. Now you see Jose Mourinho coming out and criticising his players. I think Ferguson did it, Wenger did it, a lot of managers do it, and you've got to be tactful about it. Maybe it's just being honest. I don't know. Maybe he did that a bit too much. Maybe there was some resentment building in the squad as well, because these are big personalities as well. And like I said, Kepa was one of them in respects to being a big player, £80 million, expected to play every game, and essentially is frozen out. not even on the bench sometimes. He's pretty pissed off. He's a big personality. We saw it when he was with Surrey. He refused to come off the pitch. He's young, ignorant, whatever you want to call it, hot-headed. I don't know what you want to call it, but damn, you know what? If he did that with Surrey, I could only imagine him being left out for a long time and being a bit of a dick about it. And I understand it, but then again, he ain't performing well for whatever reason. So there's an issue there as well. So you're not being left out because you're being left out. You're being left out because you were shit. He's also disabled. He tweets on his Twitter, but you cannot reply. So if you're a fan like me or whoever, you cannot reply. He has to be following you. So that shows you the criticism he doesn't like from the fans all over the world. So that shows you something about him, that he's not happy about being criticised, but it's like, well, you are doing shit. So, you know, just ignore it. But I understand you as a player or celebrity, you don't have to put up with shit. I get that. But doesn't that tell you a story where I don't think many other players have done that? But ironically, he has. He don't want to interact with fans because he's going to get criticised, blah, blah, blah. But rightly so, because he's mucking up. So he might have issues further with the dressing room. So like I said, there is a couple of things, rumours that are going on. So Lampard's failing to protect players and criticising them. I think that might be giving issue a rise to that. Fuel to the fire. So basically, there's rumours on Twitter and everything that a number of players have gone to the board of directors and complained about Lampard's lack of tactics and blah, blah, blah. He's a new manager, cutting his teeth, makes mistakes. I would like to see him, have done a few more jobs in the world and then come to Chelsea, more established, won a couple of leagues in a foreign league, whatever, I don't know. And been more of a more rounded manager. Sometimes he might get the tactics wrong, or maybe I felt in the first season he didn't have a lot of pressure on him because he had youth. Now he spent a lot of money, he felt that kind of pressure, and he was trying to chop and change. Sometimes he was forced to, but sometimes he was just trying to find the right formula. Like to find it and go, oh, that works and we can push forward. But it never really happened and it was inconsistent. And people, again, with the animosity building up, with Kepa not playing, he had a row with Alonso, who he ain't spoken to in months. Or if he ain't spoken to him, he damn sure ain't played him in months. They had a big shouting match or a big row in the dressing room apparently. And that proves it again because he hasn't played in months, Alonso. And he's a good player, Alonso. I like him. Good at set pieces, free kicks, going forward. He is a solid player, but he hasn't played him in months. So there shows you something's going on there. So, and he's a big personality. He's been in the Chelsea squad for quite a while. So we've got Kepa, Alonso, Kovacevic and Rudiger were trending on Twitter. Rudiger and Kovacevic were trending on Twitter. People saying they went to the board of directors or they were the snakes in the dressing room. Don't know if that's true, but I could imagine Kepa and Alonso definitely had something to say and would criticise. And I don't blame them to a point, or they were going to say something. I mean, come on. At this point, if there's issues and they're big personalities, like I said, 2 instances with those players, with Kepa not wanting to come off and not playing, £80 million player, Alonso having a row and not being played / frozen out, not even playing in the reserve games. So you can imagine that Rudiger or someone's friends with Alonso and, kind of backing up, and there's like little groups of what they feel, around, Havertz and Werner can say let Lampard down. Let's say that's the fact. Okay, we let him down. Well, they needed a year to adapt. Let's say that. But at the same time, I don't think they harness much animosity to Lampard over it. They're just trying to adapt to the league and trying to do their best, and losing confidence and whatever isn't working. And if the people are already established there at the club are having issues, that's going to seep into the new players as well, and it's going to be a whole mess. So obviously you're not going to get rid of certain players. It's going to be £80 million player and Kepa. You're not going to release him. You're going to have to want to sell him. It's much easier to get rid of a coach. And that's essentially what they've done. So like I said, Lampard wasn't perfect, but at the same time, in all honesty, I think Kepa should have left because I think he's generally shit, got a new goalkeeper, but definitely look into the goalkeeping area. It's terrible. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Lampard's tactics and that's where he's failed and we've lost so many games. But having said that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is trending every week. Ole out, and he's essentially, every week he's trending. Get Ole out. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, get him out. And I'm like, now, 3 weeks later, he's top of the league. And it's like, this is crazy. So a lot of things can change. We won 15, 16 games unbeaten as well in the league. And now Lampard loses 4 or 5 games and now he's fired. It's crazy. I disapprove of it. This is what I wanted to happen. I wanted Lampard to get to the end of the season. Assuming there weren't deeper issues with the tactics and some of the players, get rid of a few players, bring some more in, 1 or 2 in Rice and a new goalkeeper. Get rid of Kepa, just replace him outright. Headstrong player. Not working out, fuck it. And To do that, bring in Rice and a new goalkeeper, world-class goalkeeper, another defender, or possibly just bring a Tomori or Sarr back or whatever you're going to do there. Um, and then give Lampard till the end of next season. And then if he hasn't won a league, if he hasn't gotten to the semi-final of a Champions League or won a cup, get rid of Lampard, if that's your choice. But then that means he's had technically, what, 3 years to win something. And, you know, first year transfer ban, overachieved. Second year needed to adapt and get as high as we can. I mean, in dream world, we went for the league and we only 4 or 5 points off the top of the league. So it ain't bad like that. But the third year definitely was going to be a year where everyone had integrated, and you know Lampard, you know, had no excuses then after the season. If he either won something or he didn't, and then Roman would have sacked him or not. But that's just the way it is. However, now that's all I have to say on that terms. Now we're going to look at the new managers, potential managers coming through, or who could be joining us at Chelsea. Tunchi is obviously the one coming through, or rumoured to be signing with us on a 4-year deal. So if I can just go, Julian Nagelsmann, if I'm saying his name wrong, he's the coach at Leipzig, I believe the team where Werner played. He's a really good coach, but at the same time he's unproven. He's done things, he's got to semi-final Champions League or whatever, and that's fine, but that's still someone who hasn't won things, been around a bit. He's a growing manager, and he's more successful than Lampard, but at the same time, do you really want to go down that route? He might be able to kickstart Werner's career. I don't at Chelsea, and that would make a lot of sense. But at the same time, I don't know. I'd leave him there. I'd let him be there for a while. I wouldn't be. There's other coaches out there slightly better. Who else we got? So the next one is Algeri, who was at Juventus, who won. Like his Wikipedia is crazy. But won 2 leagues back to back, doubles, a cup and a league. In one season, then did it again. The only club to do that in Series A. Italian footballer, Italian manager, whatever, Italian star. We've had Sarri, we've had Conte, we've had Ancelotti. And Conte and Ancelotti have been great. Sarri, whatever. He only spent a year. Say what you want, but yeah, definitely. I think actually Sarri won the league in his first year of Juventus. So whatever. Italian managers have been pretty good for us. I feel. And I would like to get him, to be honest with you. So he's with Juventus, won leagues, brilliant. The Leipzig coach, bit young, whatever. Brendan Rodgers is being battered around. At the same time, he's looking for his big break. Was it Celtic? Liverpool? He didn't do it. Whatever reason, he didn't do it there. Liverpool, he's an ex-Chelsea coach as well, the youth. Again, unproven. Not a winner. Not someone who's won stuff. Say he's done well, whatever, and he's looking for a big club. I think Leicester ain't going to want to let him go, which is fair enough. And, you know, and he ain't won anything. So you don't want to go down that whole British manager. Lampard's a British manager, but he ain't really concluded anything. He hasn't wrapped up a nice Champions League and a league in a couple of countries or something. He's, you know, and that's what you want, ideally. Now, the last manager we're going to talk about is Thomas Tuchel, who, now it's funny because the fans wanted him out for whatever reason. I don't know what the fans wanted him out for. I didn't look into that. Rumoured to have, but the owners definitely wanted him out, and I was worried about that because I thought, why are the fans wanting him out? Why are the owners wanting him out? Did he not win anything? He won the where are we now? If I can find it. He joined Paris Saint-Germain in 2018-19, winning back-to-back league titles and the French Cup and League Cup last season. Former Tottenham boss, but yes. Pochettino took over. He's been sacked, yes, blah, blah. He was in the Champions League final. So you got a manager who's won back-to-back leagues in the French League. Yes, I know it's a French League. But European football, been in the Champions League final, you cannot deny he's still in the Champions League final. If you criticise the French League, which I understand, and I quote, David Luiz said, playing in that league was like playing FIFA. That's from a professional footballer. You know, hundreds of thousands of pounds a week comparing the French league to FIFA. So, you know, kind of feel where he's going with that. So anyway, so he's won back-to-back leagues with the French PSG, but he's also, you cannot deny, beaten big clubs in European football. Hasn't won it. I don't believe they won it, did they? I think someone else won it. I can't remember who won it now. But essentially, you know, he made it to a Champions League final, and that's some pedigree right there. So if you're not going to go for Algeri, go for Thomas Tuchel. And again, the reason the board of directors wanted him out was because he criticised them, saying that he had good players, but they kept going on free transfers, and he didn't like that, and he was frustrated, and they still wanted him to do the same thing, like, oh, go and win the league, but he'd lost great players or whatever, or players he didn't want to lose, and he was frustrated at that, so he criticised them, and that's why they wanted to get him out, essentially. So it's not that he was bad, they just, for whatever reason, didn't like him saying that and criticising the owners or the powers above him, so to speak. So in conclusion, guys, I'm disappointed with Lampard leaving Chelsea. Very frustrated. I'd like to get Algeria in. If he doesn't come, then this Tunchi guy looks to be the one coming in. I wish Lampard would have had more time at the club, at least till the end of next season, and see what he could have done with our club, and see what all these the teams integrated, all the players integrated properly. But there's some underlying teething problems, I feel, with Chelsea Football Club. Maybe it was his tactics, maybe he didn't protect his players enough. Maybe there were groups of players conspiring against him, and there was too much negativity in these groups with Alonso and Kepa. You know, it doesn't mean it's all down to them. Maybe there was a lack of tactics and experienced players like Kovacevic or, you know, whoever was frustrated at it. You know, sometimes, like, the most quietest man in a room could be the deadliest and biggest speaker out behind your back. You just don't know. Not saying it's the players that got him ultimately booted from talking behind his back. Hell, you could say it's for them on the pitch they didn't perform. But again, whatever. I think Frank Lampard put too much pressure on himself this year in respect to his tactics, but he was dogged by injuries. He knew he spent a lot of money, and he bottled it a little bit when not playing Gilmore, when I feel we needed Gilmore. We had no bite in the midfield. You know, the board weren't going to back him any longer because they'd give him £208 million. I think poor choices were made in the transfers, with Barkley being allowed to let go. And, you know, it's just because Kante right now, for me, is the only one in that bloody midfield. Jorginho hasn't been really performing, like pinging the ball left, right, where he was supposed to. I feel that the formations as well have been lacking. No other ideas. You've got to switch it up. You know, play the 4-3-3 attack. We always look good going forward, but defensively we look shy as well, like very bad defensively, conceding. The problem with the goalkeeper as well. Again, why the fuck is Czech technical director but not goalkeeping coach? That doesn't make fucking sense to me in the slightest. You've got to evaluate that shit. Sack the goalkeeping coaches, do something, I don't know, that would be a fucking start for me. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video and my rant about Chelsea Football Club. I'm sorry, Frank, that you got sacked. Very disappointed. We still love you and respect you, and you always have a place in our hearts regardless. There's no doubt about that. Hell, maybe you'll go and win a few things, and then one day Chelsea will come calling once more, and you'll have something to prove to everybody at Chelsea Football Club, or especially the board of directors, or the men of shadows, as I call them, pricks. Anyway, guys, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Check out my FIFA Simulations and my Chelsea career mode if you're interested in Chelsea content. I don't normally speak about Chelsea like this or consistently, because there's sometimes I don't get to see all the games and stuff like that, so it's just like I'm not going to turn make a video for like a 5-minute thing. It just doesn't feel right, but this was a bigger issue. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I constructed everything for you guys so you understood where I was coming from. You may have your own opinions, leave them in the comment section below as well. And I will see you next time. Oh, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. Donate to me via PayPal, buy some merchandise, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching, and keep the blue flag flying high.